in each module and stuff that I look at.
Cool.
They say that that's pretty similar.
Yeah, I just went through that a bunch of times.
Does she
so I
need
finally
the,
started getting,
I'm
like,
assuming she needs,
almost close to 100.
Yeah.
will you ask her if she needs
Oh, we'll see.
garden? Yeah. Hey Kathy, do you need this on, the projector? So, hey Dayla. Hi. You don't look familiar.
Bo,
Hi Bo, I'm Rachel.
I think I met you like a month and a half ago.
When you were walking around?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes
But
sense.
now all the extra stuff is out of the way. and I'm fully there. I
Cool.
take my test next Tuesday.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be the only time. I
Good luck. You got it.
appreciate it.
When was the last time you took a test? It's been a while.
9 years ago.
No. Oh, I hated tests too, but
I mean, I do relatively well on them. It's just, this is a bunch of information. You don't know which one you need to know.
yeah, and they're tricky. They're so tricky.
And they just,
It's like, what's the best
they
answer?
give you a paragraph to read and the
Yeah.
answer is one word.
Use the
Okay, that's
heck out
cool.
of you, right? You'll be fine. Kathy, do you want to do a share screen for like our Zoom people?
Yeah. we can
Okay.
do that. And I will also.
Because, so you'll have to, oh, what did I do? That's good. Is it in your email then?
The PowerPoint? No, it's on. Oh, might be in here, yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay says hello.
Oh,
I'm supposed to tell you that.
I haven't seen her since she got home. She said she drove by last night at 11 o'clock at night and she said, Mom, your office light is on, go to bed. And I said, have we met? There you go.
I usually just go straight.
I think they would have it somewhere.
Oh,
All kinds of stuff inside of that house right now.
I bet.
All of them. All right, got that.
Yeah, already. What's your name? Julie. Hey, Julie. Kathy. It should be open house PowerPoint, so it should say there. And it should say today, as far as the day.
Oh, no, just, it says just open house.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, you're all set, Kathy. You don't need anything with volume, right?
No, thank you.
That's me, it's okay. Well, I'm really thinking. She wants to on and on. And then she's like, oh, let's go back on. Hi, Julie. Bye.
Thank you all for coming in on a rainy day.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. We're gonna talk today about open houses. First of all, I know Joe, so I know you've done open houses. You're new, so you haven't done any open houses. How about you? Have you done open houses yet?
I did one,
Okay,
but we literally had no people.
okay, all right. Okay, so Joe, let me ask you, since you would have experience doing open houses, what is your frustration with open houses in today's market? What do you see happening? I'm sorry, let me turn this on. Sorry, let me get this to make sure. She's called twice and she's a homeowner, so hold on, let me make sure her house is not on fire.
Hello,
Hey, Judy.
I dialed you again by mistake, I'm sorry.
Okay, did you need anything?
Yes, I do.
What's that?
What did you find out anything about my mortgage? Because you took the legal one for.
Yeah.
Solutions, and I don't have anything.
Yep. Yeah, I have, what I first did is I called Heckham. They said there's no difference in getting a payoff as if any FHA loan. So that the information I have is for the current mortgage holder. And so it will be, it could change with the new one, but the title company's calling your old one because that's the only information we have. Now, what they are very likely going to do is if they call and they can't give payoff, they'll give the title company the new people.
Okay, so do I have to initiate something here?
No, you don't have to initiate anything on that, but I will tell you, you do need to call, and I don't remember if I told you to do this. I'm sorry, I know we talked about it, but in that email, I'm not sure I did. We do need your condo association to provide, and again, I'll send you an email so you know what to ask for, but we do need your condo association to provide the financials and minutes from the last 3 meetings and some things like that. We do not have that yet. They do have the decks and bylaws and they have the community rules, but they do not have that and they asked for it yesterday. So I will need
3 months.
minutes from the meetings for the last 3 months, the most current financials, which should be about a 2-page document, and then proof of the master insurance policy.
Okay, I'm going to go in on the 1st and sign the papers ahead of time. That's closing. They said it's the 14th. So
Okay,
so I'm just, you probably already know that,
yeah,
but I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I know this is new to me. Okay, so I call kind of the association. I need to call them anyway and tell them when I'm gonna be out of here. And I guess that's all I need from you. I guess. So okay, how do I get the information about the payoff?
You don't need to do anything. The title company will call your current mortgage holder, and they're either gonna send them the payoff or they're gonna say, we no longer have that mortgage and here's who you need to call.
Okay, but does the title company have that information? Call them.
They have the information for your current mortgage holder, that retirement funding solutions, they have that information.
Okay.
We have your account number, we have their phone number, and they're gonna call. So when they call retirement funding solutions, we're either gonna get a payoff or they're gonna say, I'm sorry, we no longer service that loan. Here's who you need to call.
Okay. So if you send in your paperwork to complete, that part won't be completed.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, they have it from me, so that's no problem.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Nope, no problem. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right. It's what you get when you deal with people over the age of 65.
I went through one of those
Did you?
trainings.
Yeah, did you?
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, I've never sold a home that had a Heckham loan. This is the first time I've had, because Heckham's fairly new. So I've never sold a home that has a loan that's a Heckham, and she asked me if there was any difference paying it off, and I thought, I don't know. But when I checked, it's just an FHA loan, so it's no difference. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. So you were saying, I'm starting with you because you've done open houses. What are your issue with open houses? What's your frustration? Your frustration is nobody came.
The biggest frustration, I guess, is, one, the homeowner, when you ask them to do certain things and put certain things away, like any particular valuables,
Yeah,
before an open house, and then you get there and they haven't done anything or half of what you've asked.
okay,
And the other frustration is basically some of the potentials that come through. They get so nitpicky, and I blame a lot of it on HGTV,
yeah,
because they nitpick about paint colors, they nitpick about carpeting, and I'm just like, that's so cosmetic.
yeah,
But I have to stand there and smile and be like, yay. But I mean, it's just frustrating, some of the unrealistic expectations I've heard people say.
okay. I don't know why the screen keeps doing that. So Jasmine, Keisha, and Ryan are online. I have my phone, so if you guys have questions or you want to jump in on comments, text me and I'll respond to your questions and comments. Okay, so Joe is saying that one of his frustrations with open houses is unrealistic expectation of buyers. Let me throw some others in that I hear from agents, because we had a bunch of experienced agents in here. I would, this is what I would hear. They all have realtors. Often, contrary to your experience, the open houses are so crowded. You don't have one-on-one time with people when you have homes in new areas with popular, popular areas. You can, especially in the spring, you'll have 30, 40 people come through an open house, and you struggle to have one-on-one time with them. So first of all, I'm going to talk about, today's class is on open houses in a high demand market, because they're completely different from open houses 10 years ago, when we just did open houses the way realtors always did open houses. And so first I want to talk about that.
Kathy,
Yeah.
I remember a story that you said, I think it was last year, you did an open house in Reynoldsburg.
Yes,
You had the police called on.
yes, that we've had our police called 3 times on our open houses. Just for crowding, cars in the street, people being afraid that so many people are coming. Go. Jill had the police called on her. We've had one in Hilliard, one in Reynoldsburg, and one in Delaware, where the police were called because of our open houses. So that's a whole different problem than what traditionally open houses were. So first of all, when I talk about a traditional market, I'm talking about 2012 or before. We've been in a high demand, hyper sellers market now since 2013. So anyone who's been licensed less than that, since 2013, you've really never worked in a normal market. And that means that once this market changes to normal, we're all going to have to adjust to what that means. But let me tell you what open houses were in a normal market. First of all, open houses were in a normal market never intended to sell houses. The National Association of Realtors in 2010 said the number of homes sold off of an open house was statistically insignificant. They never sold. So which begs the question, why do them? If they don't sell houses, why do them? Well, why we did them is 2 reasons. They kept the homeowner happy. Back in the day when homes took 30 and 60 and 90 days to sell, you would have a lot of frustrated homeowners. Why isn't my home selling? And why don't you hold it open this Sunday? So as realtors, even though we knew statistically insignificant the number of homes that would sell, we would hold an open house to keep a homeowner happy. It made them feel like we were doing something to sell their home, okay? So that was one reason. The other reason we would do open houses is to pick up buyers. That's still the reason we do it today, but back then it was much easier. When homes are on the market for 30, 60, 90 days, you had a lot of people using open houses to shop or decide whether or not they wanted to buy a house, or their lease was up in 4 months and they're just starting looking. with the key component being they had not chosen a realtor. So they would come to your open house and Bo would meet them and say, hi, how do you like this house? Well, it's okay, but it's really too small. We need an extra bedroom. Well, listen, let me help you with that. Has anybody connected you with the MLS so you're aware of new homes coming on the market? No, I haven't. Could I have your name, address, phone number, and email? And we'll get that to you. Yes, absolutely. You fill it out and there you go. You picked up a client. Okay. And it really was that easy. It really is that easy. That, building that rapport and meeting those people. The key component was they had a need, which was to buy a house, and you had the product, which was the house. And so all you had to do coming in the home was sell them on yourself. And then you would pick up a buyer seller. And by the way, I'm very hopeful we're returning to that market at some point in the future where we have the luxury to do that. So the reason we did open houses was to keep the homeowner happy, pick up buyers. And the way we chose open houses back then, when I taught open house classes 15 years ago, what I would say is it's key that you choose the right house to hold open. Now I'm going to get back to that because that's still true today. And the right home usually meant first time home buyer price range. And then I loved homes on main streets because you would get drive-by traffic all week with an open house sign. And that was your best draw to get people in. So again, choosing the right house. And what we considered success 10 years ago is if we had 2 or 3 people come through an open house. That was a busy open house. In fact, we had a team meeting, a staff meeting Tuesday morning, and Carol held my Clintonville home, a new listing I had in Clintonville open. She said it was really slow. We only had about 15 people through. And Shirley and I laughed because we remember the days if you had 3 people through, you're thrilled. That was a great open house. And now 15 people through is, well, the market's slowing. We just don't have as many people through. So success 10 years ago was defined as somebody showing up at an open house. And so that's really changed. That the market has really totally shifted on that. So traditional use in an open market, how did we make money? We made money by using the open house as the bait on a hook, and buyers wanting the house would come in. They're unrepresented, and we would meet them. We would show them the tools we had available to them to help them find a house. They would fill out a registration form that says, here's my name and address and all that. Yeah, please send me an email. And then you connect with them. When I started my business in the late 90s, I would do 2 open houses a weekend. And the reason within 6 to 8 years, I was starting to list a lot of houses was because of all the buyers I picked up at open houses 6 to 8 years earlier. They were now selling their houses, which by the way, is the trajectory of a good agent. Good listing agents were at one point great buyer's agents because they picked up a lot of buyers, sold a lot of homes, and then over time, your business starts shifting because all of those people start selling their homes. So then you shift to being a listing agent here. That's the reason your top listing agents have generally been in the business 20 years or more, because they have hundreds of buyers they've sold homes to, which if they've done their job well, and if they've kept up with them, become their listings in year to come. So first thing I say to you when you're looking at open houses, you need to look at every person who comes in an open house as number one, someone saying they have a need. And secondly, if you look at them and say, if I serve this client well, this is my income and my referral base for years to come by meeting these people. That's the value in an open house, is that it is your opportunity to meet people and become literally lifetime clients with people. So let's talk about the open house in a hyper seller's market. First of all, one of the things that changes is they are actually buying houses off the open house. Why? Because that's the only opportunity they have to see the house. Realtors are now putting their homes on the market on Thursday and asking for offers by Sunday night. And many times the only opportunity a buyer has to go through for the first time or the second time is to come through that open house. So instead of having wanderers and lookers, which you still have, Carol told me out of the 15 people that came through her open house, 2 of them were neighbors coming to see the home. So you're still going to have those, but you also have a lot of buyers who this is their showing. This is their showing. The open house is their opportunity to see the house that they may very well write an offer on. Secondly, and this is a frustration we hear a lot, is most buyers say they have realtors. Now, I emphasize the say they have realtors because saying you have a realtor is often a defensive mechanism to keep realtors away. They come in the house and Bo says to them, do you have a realtor? The easiest way to keep Bo from bugging them is to say, yes, I have a realtor. And then they've learned that, okay, that'll keep him at bay because he believes I'm represented. Now, on the other hand, that many of them are represented. And here's why that is. 10 years ago, when homes stayed on the market for weeks and months at a time, I could see a home come on Zillow, and even though it had been on the market a day or two in the MLS, it didn't matter. That home was still good. It wasn't going to sell immediately. And I could call up a realtor and say, look, I'd like to see this house. And the realtor would say, okay, I'm available tomorrow. Well, I don't get off work till Friday. Okay, how about Saturday morning? We go see it. Now we're talking a week out. And it didn't matter. That house typically was going to be on the market 30 to 60 days. So what that meant in terms of open houses is that you very often had unrepresented buyers coming through because there was no urgency in getting a realtor. They could do a lot of shopping on their own time and their own terms and not hire a realtor. Well, this market has changed that. Why? Because if they don't have a realtor, that home is in contract before they see it come on the consumer market, before Zillow picks it up, before Realtor.com, before that comes to them, the home's already in contract, or at very least, that home has had 20 showings with realtor represented buyers. My team lists a lot of houses, and it is not uncommon. I bet on every home we list, we will get a call on day 2 or 3 from somebody who wants to see the house. And I'll say, I'm sorry, it's already in contract, or I'm sorry, we already have multiple offers. And they'll say, well, how can that be? It's only been on the market 3 days. What are you looking at? Well, I saw it come on Zillow. Well, you're looking at the wrong source. It came out on the MLS 3 days ago. So again, because of that, because buyers have learned that, they've now recognized if I'm not linked to a realtor providing homes as soon as they come on the MLS, I'm a day late and a lot of dollars short. I'm not going to get that home. So as a result, many do have realtors, and that's one of the key differences and one of the key challenges of doing open houses that we're going to deal with. And then the next thing, although you didn't experience this, crowds make it difficult to do one-on-one. The key component in making money off of open houses is relationship, building relationship with the people that come in. Well, if you are just air traffic controlling, getting people through the houses, you have a real challenge having any one-on-one time. And that is a realistic prospect in this market, especially when you start hitting February, March, April, May, is that you'll hold a home open and literally have 40, 50 people come through in 2 hours. So it's very difficult to get that one-on-one time. Those are the challenges of doing an open house in a hyper seller's market. So how do we overcome those challenges? How do we make them successful? First of all,
Typically, how long is it?
an open house can be as long as you want it to be. We traditionally do 2-hour open houses. What we see a lot changing these days is the days we do them. They used to be always Sunday afternoon, 2 to 4. Now we're seeing more noon to 2. We're seeing 2 to 4. We're seeing Saturdays, seeing Thursday nights. So the open house, and this is where the internet has helped us, the open house can be on whatever day you want it, at whatever time you want it. The key thing is that when we put it in the MLS, we note the home is open, we say when it is open, and then the buyers, that's what they're saying. So that's when they come. I would say from a practical standpoint, signage, because if you want a sign in front of your house, it says open 12 to 2, 2 to 4. I mean, in our office, we have a stack that big of signs with different times for whatever it is. But from a practical standpoint, 2 hours is of how long you could do it. You could stay there all afternoon if you wanted. It's up to you. So the open house goal is relationships. Sorry, this didn't load right, but anyway, relationship. Here's the thing. If you leave an open house without at least one connection from which you can follow up to solicit business, you've done another realtor's job. Now, let me be kinder about that. There are times when you have tried and done your job in building relationship and you don't end up with anything. That's not what I'm saying. But what we find many realtors do is that they come into the open house and they stand there almost like a concierge saying, here's some information on the house, and it's got a finished basement and a nice deck on the back. And all they're doing is being the flight attendant and then everybody's coming and going without ever an attempt to open a conversation, to meet that person, to find out what their need is. If no attempt is made, then you really have wasted your time. You're doing an open house without any real opportunity. If you're just sitting there hoping that I'm such a nice person and handed out such good flyers that they're just going to go home and call me, it's a false hope. It's not going to happen. One thing about this group that comes in, if they do not have another realtor, and I'll show you in a moment how you find that out, but if they do not have another realtor, you have to give them something of value to differentiate yourself from the other 3 people holding open houses that same day. If they're not looking at your open house, there's a very good chance they're going to go down the street and go into another open house. What differentiates you from every other open house they have? And the real question is, how do I connect and build trust in 3 minutes? And that's a tough thing to do. It is an extremely hard thing to do, but the truth is that that's the essence of sales, is that ability to meet someone and have build trust and build connection in a very short amount of time, so that when they walk out of that house with the information you've provided, they say, I really like that guy. Joe was really helpful. You know, he was able to point us to the right direction for some lenders. He was able to help us understand what appraisal gap means. So in other words, you have given them something of value that they walk out of the house with. One of the reasons I wrote the little book I gave you, which is, you know, not a Pulitzer winner, all it is a more expensive business card is what it is. It's the ability to hand something to them of value that separates me from everybody else going to the open houses they're going to. So we're going to talk about what points of value you can give a buyer that gives them the opportunity to work with you. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is choosing the right open house to hold open. You want homes in the low to mid range. You don't want to hold open high-end homes. If it's your listing and you have to, do it. But when you see these things come in from other agents asking someone to hold their home open on a certain weekend or something like that, first of all, if it's not a new listing, I hesitate to use the word waste of your time, because wasted time is only wasted if you waste it. But what you want are new listings, and you want price range low to mid range. And in Central Ohio, that means anything under 500,000 is likely a viable open house. Ideally, I love homes in the 200 to 300 range. Used to be 1 to 2. Now those don't exist. But 200 to 300 range in the suburbs is a great home to hold open. Why? Because 200 to 300 is the price point of a lot of first-time home buyers now. With the interest rates where they are, they can get into a $250,000 home for about $1,500 a month. That's what they're paying in rent. And so they're all trying to buy those houses. So why do you want first-time home buyers? Because they are least likely to have realtors. Okay, they are least likely. They are most likely to be the ones who woke up that day and said, our lease is up in 3 months. Maybe we want to buy a house. And like, you know, there's a couple open in Gahanna, and let's go look at them. Okay, so they are the least likely to have a realtor. They are the most likely to need your expertise. Now, so first-time home buyers are who you want in an open house setting. So what are first-time home buyers? Again, you move into the Dublin, Upper Arlington areas, and a first-time home buyer is buying 400 to 500. That's the reason I say that anything under 500 is pretty much going to give you the highest probability or possibility of having someone who does not have a realtor. The lower the price, the better. In fact, this is where if you have the listings or in the office of 200 and below, you're going to be overrun at an open house because those 170, 180 homes are so hard to find. And that price point is about $1,000 a month on a mortgage payment. And that is where a lot of people are parked, right there. That 1,000 to 1,500 on a mortgage payment. You put a home on the market that puts them there, that's the most likely chance you're going to have people who are unrepresented coming in. You get agents or you happen to get a high-end listing. Well, first of all, most homeowners on a high-end listings don't want open houses because they know they're ineffective. This is their fifth house. And they know they're ineffective and they know they don't want strangers walking through and they think that the neighbors will come through and all this sort of stuff. So first of all, it's not even your decision many times on high end, but I'm telling you from a practical aspect, you're eager to do an open house and someone on our Facebook page says, look, does someone want to open this house in Delaware? It's 850,000, blah, blah, blah. That truly is probably a waste of your time. Number one, the number of people coming through that open house generally have bought and sold more houses than you have. I mean, in other words, they have, this is their fifth, sixth house. And so they know the game, they've got a realtor, they've got the realtor that sold the last 3 houses. They're not going to use you. And in fact, all you are to them is a door opener to get them into the house that they're then going to call their realtor if they have any interest in. So the more expensive the home, the least feasible it is to do an open house, the least profitable is to do an open house. Very rare to pick up anybody off of high-end homes. So again, not that it doesn't happen, okay? And I have good colleagues that hold their listings open high-end, but that is generally because they have a real estate reputation enough that somebody coming in that front door knows them or heard of them, and they have a slight possibility if that person is no longer in contact with their realtor that they'll use them. But if you're brand new, you have no name out there, and this is just a real unicorn for you to be out in this neighborhood, likely not going to call you. You're not likely to be their realtor.
The other thing I found frustrating is, and I saw the perfect term the other day, is the Google realtor, where, and I've had some clients try and do this to me, where they basically try and tell me how to do my job based on what Google told them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I'm sure my doctors get that all the time, what people looked up online, you know. So number one, choose the right house to hold open. Be selective. This is a business. You're not a concierge service. This is not a hobby. This is not something you're doing to be nice or to be helpful to a colleague. This is a business, and you have to evaluate every opportunity to do an open house as if this is an opportunity to make money. If it's not an opportunity to make money, then it's not an opportunity you want to take. One thing I would say is to consider the buddy system in terms of open houses. We started doing this on my team simply to manage the crowds at open houses. Before I get to the details of that, when you pick another realtor to do an open house with, make sure before you do that open house that you have made it clear between each other what is the distribution of those leads you're going to get from an open house. How are you going to split payment? If if you split the list half and half, you take this half, I'll take this. Well, what if you pick up a buyer here and this person doesn't? Are you going to split the proceeds from that? I mean, that conversation has to happen before you sit down with somebody and do an open house. And if you come across that, you want my advice, I'll help you a ways to do it. But I find the best way to do it is to do a strict 50-50. In other words, you both showed up at the open house, you split the leads, this person's buyer turned into a lead, you got nothing on your end. So at very least, you should get 30% off of this guy because you did the open house. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's not a discussion to have after one of you has a buyer, okay? That's a discussion to have before you go in and say, look, let's do this open house together. You do this, I'll do this. At the end of the day, we will pull out our list of people who came through. We'll split them up. We'll make phone calls. We'll make follow-up and keep in touch with each other. Okay. So again, before I get to how that works, that's something very important is to consider bringing 2 people. Now, I would say this time of year is probably not necessary. If you are only having 0 to 15 people come through the house, that's very manageable for one person. I'm going to give you an idea here that you might say, well, I still want to use 2 for this reason. But again, you will come to the point in the spring, especially if they're new listings, that you are going to have 30 and 40 people coming through an open house. And that gets extremely difficult to identify who's who and build relationship and make money off of it. So again, consider partnering with somebody to do an open house. I touched on it before, but I forgot to say it more often. Doing an open house for a home that's been out there for 30, 40 days without a price reduction, again, that's a stale listing. You have a really small chance of having a lot of people come through. I'm just curious, on the home you held open, how long had it been on the market? Was it a new listing?
It was brand new, and part of the problem was that it did not, the open house did not get put on MLS when it was closed.
Oh, there, yeah.
Actually, Brett, he held it open the following day too, and I meant to ask him like how it had.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that was part of the problem. But I was with another new agent, so having 2 people on that was kind of nice because we had each other to like get through the 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then we could talk and, you know, she's been able to do it longer than I have, so I learned a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to touch on that in a minute. Again, just so you understand the mechanics of how that happens, when the home goes into the MLS, it immediately goes out to everybody, to all realtors and buyers who have signed on with the searching for that house. If you do not have the open house noted when it goes out as a brand new listing, you are missing your best opportunity to have buyers be notified. In the MLS, when we note it is open, it also downloads onto Zillow and Realtor.com and all those. So ideally, that home should go in the MLS on a Tuesday or Wednesday, with that open house advertised online through Sunday, so that you get the best chance of people. But I've had that happen on our listings where we didn't get the pictures back or something, and it's going into the MLS on a Saturday. And I'm even thinking, I don't even know if I want to risk doing an open house on Sunday because people already have their weekend plans and all of that. So part of that strategy is knowing when to put it on so that you have the maximum time for that to be out there. Now, I'm switching that around because many of your open houses will not be on your listings. They're going to be on someone else's listings. So when you see that come over our Facebook page, someone hold this home open this weekend, if I were you, my question is it a new listing or did you just reduce the price? If not, someone's asking you to do their babysitting, okay? Because that home's already been out there. They've already had their first rush of buyers. The chances of getting good, eager buyers into a second open house when a home's on the market 15 days or longer is minimum. If you just want to practice, do it. But the best open houses are new listings when they come out, and or that someone's just done a price reduction. That's the reason when I have my agents do open houses. I mean, we've had times this year with 6 agents on my team. Either everyone's out of town showing homes or doing their own open houses, that I need somebody to do open houses. And I'll always say, this is a new listing or we just lowered the price $20,000. Because a significant price reduction effectively makes it a new listing, meaning it's coming onto the radar of people who didn't see it a week and a half ago. So that's also a viable listing. But if you just have a realtor out there who has a frustrated homeowner and that homeowner has said, can someone hold, why aren't you holding my home open? And we're now 30 days in on an overpriced home and you volunteer to hold it open, you are doing their babysitting. And in addition, again, it's your time, it's your business. And if you want to practice, if you want to get out there before there's 40 people coming in the door, do it. But just know that's not the most likely profitable open house to do. So the next thing we want to do is, I did these two pictures. This is one of our two-step open houses. We actually started doing it because of COVID. We were having 30 and 40 people show up at open houses, and we had to socially distance and maintain the traffic going in the house. So that's why we came up with the two-step open house. But you know what we found out of it, which COVID gave birth to a lot of great ideas. We realized that we had a lot more time with the customer when we had two agents working instead of one. Because what would happen is Mary out here would check people in, filling out a form like this. And because they're stopping at a table to do it, they're much more likely to say, my name is John Smith, my phone number is this, my email is this, and yes, I have a realtor, no, I don't, rather than coming in the kitchen, looking around and just scrawling something on a piece of paper. So we found that when we held it open and had somebody out here checking people in, we got much better information. One of my agents uses a lap, you guys probably do this, but uses a software program where they just get on her laptop or her iPad and sign in with their information. The other thing we found was this slowed the traffic. Because they had to wait out here, Mary got to talk to them and find out who they were, what are they looking for, that sort of thing. We made available on the table a lot of resources with things, you know, to give them in addition to water and chips. We're giving them information on buying homes. We're giving them our books. We're giving them checklists, that sort of thing. So we are starting to give them value while they're sitting out. And I guarantee you, there's not another agent doing this. You know, there's nobody else doing this who's saying, look, even if you have a realtor, we're here to help you. We're here to serve you. What questions can we answer? Before you get in the house, how can we help you? What's going on? Then we had a second agent in the home. And while this person was going in, agent one would text agent two saying, guy in a black hoodie, wife with two small kids, no realtor, blah, blah, blah. And then so by the time they walk in the door, agent number one knows who those people are. Hey, welcome. And agent number one inside knows who to pay attention to. Because the other thing is, blah, 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 working with Sandy Raines, has made offers on 5 houses, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, I'm essentially going to ignore them. You know, they have an agent, they're doing this. So we found the 2-agent buddy system worked really well. And then they would switch. One would go inside, one would come out. And so they would both do that. But we found when we took the opportunity, when we did that, we got a lot of information outside that was helpful inside. And the inside person was a step ahead, knowing I can let those 2 or 3 people go. They've got confirmed realtors. This one out here, this is the one coming in with the 2 kids. Oh, that's the one that doesn't have a realtor. I'm going to take time, you know, pay attention to. So we found that the 2-step system really worked. And in fact, up until even a month ago, we had just started doing, as the market slowed a little bit, we got so that we're just sending 1 agent out. But even up to a month ago, we were sending 2 agents to every open house on a new listing, because we knew that we were going to have enough traffic that in order to really vet these agents and to really know, the buyers, and really know who we're dealing with. So the next thing I ask you is on this check-in and sign-in, when you ask if they have a realtor, first of all, how do you know if they really have a realtor? It is not uncommon for people to say, yeah, we have a realtor, simply because they don't want you to bug them. So what we started doing is asking who their realtor was. We'll say, who are you working with? I'm just curious. And if they knew their realtor's name, we knew they had a realtor. But we also find half of them didn't know their realtor's name. Or they'd look at their spouse or their partner and then say, what's her name? And that, again, was a clue to us. If they do have a realtor, they don't have a tight connection if they don't know who their realtor is. So we came up with this form that I give you this, the one about, do you have a great realtor? And we just started being very upfront about it. We would put this out on the table and we would say, do you have a realtor? Let us know who it is. We'd like to let them know you came through the open house. If you don't have a realtor, we just said here, give me your info and I'll bug you a little and get you a great house. You know, we put some humor into it, give us your name and number, and we start giving people a choice. You know, do you have a realtor? Do you not? Being upfront with why we wanted their name, that we were going to do that. Now, we can only do that because at this point, we have provided some value to them and giving them some information. We also started handing out this form when people, as we had conversations with them, we created what we call our Zillow form, which the Zillow form gives them an opportunity to tell us what they're looking for. And when we began hearing that frustration of the homes are already sold before I get there, well, we'd say, well, where are you finding those homes? Well, I'm getting them on Zillow or Realtor.com. Well, let me help you with something. And then we would hand them this form. So we began developing resources that whatever the need was, we had a piece of paper to meet the need. We could say, this is, and by the way, feel free to copy these to whatever you want with them. Now, so again, finding out if they have a realtor is important. Doesn't mean you're going to ignore them if they do, but it does mean that you can begin to exercise and point your time to where it's important when you have a better idea that this is an unrepresented person or the person doesn't know their realtor's name. We've had multiple times on my team where we have been told at the open house, someone had a realtor, but we've gotten a phone call after the fact, or our follow-up has resulted in, well, yeah, we had talked to this person a few times, but we were really impressed with the information you gave us and would like you to use you as our realtor. So sometimes even when they say they have a realtor at an open house, they are saying it as a push off only to hear you, learn from you, watch you and say, gosh, that's a really good realtor. And it results in a phone call back to you to say, you know, how you can help them. So again, determining that, do they have a realtor? Yes, no, yes, but no. I mean, to get that information, that's critical in an open house. And really, many agents are just afraid to ask. In other words, they feel like, well, gosh, I sound pushy if I ask if they have a realtor. And I'm saying, no, that's your job. You're there to make money. You don't want to step on another realtor's toes. You don't want to advise a client if they've got a realtor that they're trusting. But at the same time, if they came into your open house, they have a need. And you're providing an open door to meet that need. And so there are professional, courteous, and good ways to find out if they have a realtor. And I have found that the best way is just on the table and upfront. To say, look, do you have a realtor you're working with? And they say, yes. Oh, who is that? Who are you working with? And they'll always tell you, well, it's this. And then I always compliment that record. Oh, Joe, he's actually in my office. He's a great realtor. I'll tell Joe you stopped at my open house. That's it. You're done. They have a realtor. Then over here, this person comes in and says, well, yeah, we have a realtor. What's his name? I don't know. What's name? Well, actually, we just contacted him a few times. And I'm going to say to them, okay, well, let me tell you, and this is where you use your own style, your own realtor, but I'll say, you know, here's some resources that I'll provide you, and I'd love to be your realtor. If you want to, you know, these are some things I can do for you. And if you think that would be helpful, give me your name and address. I'd love to follow up with you and help you find a house. So again, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be awkward, but it has to be said. You've got to find out. You got to divide the wheat from the tares. What is it? Which ones are going to be the most viable prospects for you to sell a home to, and let everybody else just go look at the house, whatever they're doing. Any questions about that before we move on? Okay. The next thing is relationship. Remember, if you are in that open house and all you're doing is tour guiding, bathrooms there, finished basement, master bedrooms upstairs, if that's all you're doing, then that's all you're doing. And frankly, you could have gotten an unlicensed person to stand there and do that. That is not an effective use of an open house. What we're wanting to do is build relationships. So again, relationship always begins with a question, which is you're listening for the need. What is the need they have that you can meet? What is the need they have that because of your license, your expertise, the tools that you're in your hands, that you can meet that need? That's the essence of sales. The essence of sales is you have a need, I have a product, you're willing to pay me for that product, whatever that is. So again, relationship starts with a question. So when people are coming through open houses, that in this market, it's a frustrating market. No matter who comes through your open house, they're likely to be very frustrated with the market. They see the lines out the door, they see the crowd in the open house. Their realtor has told them that they have a deadline of 7 o'clock tonight or don't try. I mean, they know they're coming up with multiple offers. Some of them have made multiple offers on homes. So first thing you need to understand in this market is you're going to be working with a frustrated buyer. So one of the things I like to use when I'm doing an open house is find out why they're frustrated. Everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody's pissed off, you know? So what are you frustrated about? So some questions that I like to put out there. I'm sorry, let me drop on this. This is an example of that Zillow slide. When you, some of the things you can talk about when you give them this is know your stuff, know what the MLS can do that the Zillow Realtor.com cannot. Have your iPad device with you, be able to demonstrate, and then offer to show them how the MLS system works on their behalf and for them. You're a key person coming through the open house. One of their frustrations is homes are sold before I see them, or homes, I'm not getting homes quick enough. That can be that they don't have a realtor or they don't have a good realtor. That's when I pull out the Zillow form and I say to them, let me explain to you the difference between the consumer sites, which are Zillow, Realtor.com, and the MLS, which you need to know. What are the differences? What can the MLS do that those sites can't do? Well, number one, the MLS is real time. It's what realtors work off of. So whereas Realtor.com and Zillow are pretty good, they'll come on same day. They are not as efficient as what the realtors provide you. And then you pull out your iPad, your laptop, and let me show you. And you say, let's talk about, you know, what homes are you looking for? And they'll tell you, and you can say, you know, I can show you the MLS is real time, real data. Oh, the other frustration they'll hear is that it shows active on these sites and it's already in contract. And so I'll say to them, that won't happen when you're connected to the MLS. And finally, when you talk to them, is anybody connected you to the MLS? Well, no, I don't think so. I'm just doing the consumer side. Would that be helpful to you? I call that my $1 million phrase because I have made $1 million saying it. Yeah, you know, let me make a suggestion. You tell me if this would be helpful to you. What I would suggest that you let me link you directly to the MLS. It won't cost you anything. There's no obligation, but what will allow you to do is be on the same system realtors are. So you're the first to know of these homes that come on the market. Would that be helpful to you? And I'll tell you what, the answer is always yes. If they are not already connected to a realtor, the answer is already yes. So, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'll tell you what, go over here, here's a pen, fill this out for me. And when I finish my open house today, I'm going to connect you with the system and I'm going to do just that. And you're going to be getting homes ahead of everybody else who's on Zillow and the MLS. We've come out of open houses 20 of these at any given time. Why? Because we're meeting the need of a frustration. The frustration is homes are in contract before I see them, or they're still showing active on Zillow or Realtor.com when they're actually in contract. And so again, oh, well, I hear your frustration. I hear your need. Here's the answer to that need. So we're meeting a need there. So what other questions can you ask to really fill in what the need is? These are questions that I often use in open houses. There's no rocket science about them, but what they are is identifying a known frustration and coupling it with your knowledge of the market. Has anyone taken the time to meet with you and develop a strategy for getting a home in this market? They say, no, they haven't. I said, well, let me show you something we use. This is from my team. We have what's called a buyer's guide. And we'd love to set up a meeting with you, give you a copy of this and walk you through the whole process. Would that be helpful to you to do that? So again, and I'll get back to this because I know you guys are sitting there saying, well, I don't have a little book like that. But anyway, this is, but I'll say, what am I doing? I am matching my knowledge with a need and saying, okay, this is what we can do for you. Secondly, has anyone talked to you about structuring a contract to make it more appealing to the seller? Well, let me tell you, I've got this little book here and I've written some strategies in here. And would this be helpful to you? I'd love to give this to you. You know, give them that. What am I doing? I am matching my answer to a need. Do you know what a backup offer is? Appraisal gap, rent back, money towards seller's closing costs, pick something. Do you know what that is? They say no. Has it been suggested to you when you're making an offer? Let me explain to you how this works in our market. And then when you get engaged with them, talking to them, so you get to back up to here. Has anyone taken time to meet with you to go over a strategy for doing this? Now, let me tell you what happens here. If they have a realtor, if they have a good realtor, their answers to those questions are going to be yes. You do understand that, okay? And they go, if they don't have a realtor or they don't have a good realtor, they're going to think you're a rock star. They're going to say, oh, I have had people say to me, we thought we had a realtor. We've learned more in the last 10 minutes than this person we've been working with for 2 months. Can you give me your business card? Now, am I in the business of stealing another realtor's clients? Absolutely not. I am in the business of meeting needs of the consumer, giving them education. And if it happens to be the person they're working with has not given that information, I'll work with them all day long. So again, do you feel like you have all the information you need to buy a home in this market? When you hear the frustration, when they say, well, we love this home, but we can tell by the people here, it's going to get multiple offers and go out of our price point. Well, do you feel like you have all the information you need to really compete in this market? Get the conversation going, hear their frustration, and then a real wide open question, these last two. What has your experience been in searching for a home? I love to hear that, because that's another question you ask them, but you're going to find out real quick if they have a realtor. Because if they're just wandering open houses, if they say, well, we've really just started and we're going to open houses, but we've noticed that all of them seem to go in contract, before we can get to them, that tells you they likely don't have a realtor. If they say, well, we've made offers on 4 and our realtor's really good, but we're just getting frustrated, they got a realtor, okay? If they made offers on them. What do you feel like you don't know about this market? That's a wide open question again. And when I've asked that question, I get a range of answers. What I feel like I don't know is how high this house is going to go in pricing, how much extra money I'm going to need to have. I don't know how much money I'm going to need to have at the end. If I offer $30,000 over list price and it appraises, do I still need that $30,000? I mean, that's the kind of stuff they'll give you. That gives you an opportunity to answer the questions. The reason I've given you this book is that if you don't know the answers to those questions, it's in this book. So you guys can read it and learn yourself how to answer those questions, what that means. So real quick primer on some of the basics of contract writing that you can now turn around once you read and grasp that, you can turn around and sound like the expert when you get into an open house. So again, what do you feel like you don't know? Well, I feel like I'm having, I have no idea. This is a $275,000 house. How high am I going to have to go to get it? Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you, typically homes are going at least 10% over list price. So I would say you're probably in the neighborhood of $300,000 to get this home. Is that a number that would work for you? Well, no, 275 is our high end. Okay, I'm going to just give you some advice that's hard to take. You're either going to have to drop down to 250 or you're going to have to wait 7 to 10 days. If that home's still on the market, and then you begin educating them about time on the market and how new listings, they don't sell, they're open for grabs a week from now. And okay, here's what's happening while you're talking. All of a sudden, a crowd starts coming around and everybody's listening because everybody wants to know the same thing. That's number one. Number two is you look darn smart, okay? You have the information, and I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 of your colleagues are not telling them this stuff. All they're doing is showing homes and throwing out offers and hope it works. Okay, when they have someone who actually stops and listens to them and educates them. I did this once in an open house, and this husband looked at his wife and he said, we've been totally wasting our time. And what he was saying is, we've been making offers that had no chance. And I said to him, I said, I don't want to know your realtor's name, but have you felt every time you made an offer, you had a solid chance? He said, yeah, we thought every time we were going to win. Now that you told us this, we realized we never had a chance. And I said to them, I said, well, were you ever in the top 3? And they said, we don't know. We just made an offer. Well, you should know that. Your realtor should have called back the other realtor and said, did we even make the top 3? If you didn't make the top 3, you had no shot at this house. And if you continue doing what you're doing, you have no shot moving forward. So again, your knowledge can become the open door for them to say, I want to work with that guy. I mean, like, we learned more saying that open house than our realtor has shared with us. And 9 out of 10 of buyers, I want to make something perfectly clear. I will never steal your clients. I will never headhunt. I will never go after them. But I will always answer a text or a phone call if your clients call me and say, I'm really frustrated. We've done this, this, and this. And I will tell you, as a busy, experienced agent, my first response is always going to be to help them work out whatever it is with you, especially if I like you. I mean, I've had a lot of agents I really like, and I'll say, look, you need to go back to her, and here's what I would suggest. Ask her to do this, this, and this. In other words, my goal as an agent is always to keep that relationship solid. But what I'm telling you in open houses, a lot of these people really don't have relationships. They're going to say they do at the beginning until they get to know you, and then they're going to, all of a sudden, you're going to realize, well, it only wasn't an agent. It's just they showed us one house 3 months ago. Have we even talked to them? No, we've not even talked. All of a sudden that we have an agent begins to crumble because they really didn't ever. That's the group you're looking for, not the person who has a solid signed relationship. You're looking for that person who really has a need to buy a house and would love to work with a good, solid agent, but just doesn't know you're that agent yet. And then when you win them over, by the time you leave, that's the person who says, yeah, by the way, can I have your business card? Or you've given them so much great information, they're walking out of the house knowing immediately how to contact you. And you have their information that you're going to be following up with. And here's another thing I always do when people sign in, remember they're signing in just as they came through the door, that we haven't talked, we haven't done anything. On the way out, we're having this conversation, they're starting to fill me in. This happened just a month ago at a listing I had up in Delaware. They were the only ones there. They started telling me that they bought a condo because they thought they wanted it ready for condo, and they hate living in a condo. And now they decided they want a house on 5 acres, and this really appeals to them. Now, when I came in, he just kind of scrawled his name and a number, almost like don't want her to be able to read. Okay. And so I said to them, and they said, "But we feel like we're trapped. We just bought the condo in 2019. We don't feel like we can sell it." And I said, well, you might be surprised. I said, would it be helpful to you to know what your condo is selling for today? And they looked at each other and they go, yeah, we'd like that. And I said, well, do I have your information? Well, hold on a minute. Let me give you the real information. Okay. So again, they scroll a name when they see no value added. They give you what you need when they see value added. Okay. Why they're doing that. And by the way, that couple is not ready yet, but they've asked me to call them in February because they think they are going to go ahead and sell their condo and really start looking. So again, these were people wandering through an open house, and actually they were on their way to they had kids who rode horseback riding down the street. They were on their way to that. They saw the open house and just wandered through. They weren't viable buyers. They were just wanderers saying, yeah, this is kind of really what we should have bought. We shouldn't have bought that condo. And so now the gears are working. Now they're saying, yeah, then even they're saying, no promises, but yeah, call us in February. Let's start a discussion because we don't want to live here another year. So again, had I just said, come take a look, hey, thanks for coming, have a good afternoon. But by the time they left, I knew their kids' names. I knew they were going to ride on. I knew the horse's name, for God's sake, and that the husband and wife were frustrated. I could tell the husband was more into it than the wife. The wife was like, I don't want to go through this again. Husband saying, well, I don't know, maybe, yeah, could you come by and tell us what our condos were? So again, you give them the value, they'll give you the information. I often use the example of when people tell me it's so hard or they feel sort of salesmanish to try to get name and address and phone number. I often tell them, if you pull it down to when you're buying a car, especially in this market with cars, you want a specific car, you want a specific model, you want a specific mileage on that car. Now, if I go down to a Toyota dealership and salesman comes up to me and says, hey, before I give you any information here, fill out this form and give me all of your contact, I'm probably just gonna give them my name and a number, but I'm not gonna do a whole lot. But if I have a salesperson say to me, look, I know you're frustrated and there's not a lot on this lot. What are you looking for? Well, I want nothing older than 2015 and I like this and I want under 100,000 miles. I'll tell you what, we have a system where we can find that car somewhere in the country. Would that be helpful to you if I just find it? It might take a week or so to get it on the lot, but that be helpful? Well, yeah, that would be. You're doing the work for me. Okay, now you're going to get my real information. So again, you meet a need, I'll give you the information. It's the same way holding open houses. If they see that you can meet a need of theirs, and these are all good prompting questions to hear the need, they're not going to walk in and say, they're not going to walk in and say, here, this is our need. We're very frustrated. This is our complaint. Well, as they walk through the house, you take the time to say to them, so what do you, it's always an easy question. So what do you think of this house? And they're going to be picky. Well, we think that carpet is, ratty or smells like cat pee or whatever they say. Your response is, so it sounds to me like you want something newer or something more updated. Well, yeah, that, and we already have a 1.5 bath. We really like a second bathroom. Okay, so is this your price point? I mean, what appealed to you about this house? Well, we always like this neighborhood and we really need to stay under 200,000. Well, let me make a suggestion and you tell me this would be helpful to you. And then I talk to them about the MLS. So what the MLS does, has anyone connected you to the MLS? Not realtor.com, not Zillow, but directly to what realtors were. Well, no. Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't cost anything. If you want, give me your information and I'd be happy to do that. And I'll make sure you're only seeing 2-bath homes and I'll try to look and see if anything's newer, but at very least, you'll see everything out there. You won't have to wander through open houses to discover that carpet's bad. You can look at that. So again, relationship always starts with a question. It always starts with a question of what is your pain point, what is your need, and what tools do I have to meet that need?
I had a friend we've been knowing each other for 10 years or more, was a client and was finding him stuff. He had a low price point that he could work with. I was sending him everything. I explained all that to him. And then one day out of the blue, he just sends me a random text and says, hey, I'm going with so-and-so realtor. I'm like, well, how did you meet this realtor? He's like, oh, I met them at an open house. And we even had an exclusive buyer's agreement. And I just recently found, because it's been about 6 months since he's been in his home, that this realtor works for KW Capital Partners. And I was very upset because I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, and honestly, let me tell you something about the business friend. First of all, someone just asked on Zoom how we get copies of the handouts. I'll leave some copy with Pamela at the front desk, and you stop by and you can make copies of them. Let me address that, Joe, because first of all, and I say this business is really hard. And to really make you want to quit tomorrow, it doesn't get easier. I mean, at 25 years, it's still really hard. It is still, it gets, let me take that back. It gets easier because you do get, if you've done your job well and you've stayed in touch with your clients, you do have a somewhat steady stream of repeat business. But the doing this, where you're going to an open house and you're meeting new people, that never gets easy. It's the reason a lot of people, let me back up and say this. Reading an article last week in the Wall Street Journal about the lack of people filling jobs, okay? And they said one of the highest paid job in any sector of business is salespeople. Salespeople have the potential of making more money than the CEO of the company that they work for. But that is also the biggest vacancy rate in job openings is salespeople. Why? Because sales is really hard. It's very hard to face rejection every freaking day. It's very hard to get out there and give the best of who you are, the best of what I have to give, the best of my services, and be rejected and someone else is picked. That is and the best salespeople are the ones who get used to that, who don't go to bed depressed, who say, oh, well, I lost that battle, get up in the morning and we're going to get another one. So the best salespeople overcome that, but it would be a lie to say that doesn't still hurt and that isn't still annoying. Just this week, if any of you came to my lead generating class, you know I spend several hours every week going back and talking to past clients and sending letters and contacting people. And I had one of my clients I sold 3 houses to, and they are 4, I should say. And they called me last fall because they were thinking of selling this spring. And I did a new evaluation of their home, and they were disappointed in what it would sell for. And I explained to them that, you know, that was my best numbers now, but the market was still hot. Well, coming into 2021, kept very close tabs with them because I already knew they were on the verge of thinking they want to sell. And as you know, 2021 prices increased significantly. And I'm thinking, this is great. We're now getting their house to where it goes. I was in contact with them by phone, text, or email every month up until the last contact I made with them was, at least regarding the value of their home, was in March. And I said, hey, I just noticed that a home in your neighborhood sold for X amount of dollars. It's getting up there where you wanted it to be. Let's talk, okay? Send them a few more mailings and things. I looked them up yesterday. They listed in April with somebody. And you just think, excuse me, what the hell? Like, you know, it's like, okay, did they just meet that person at an open house? Did they, you know, and then of course you self-doubt. Did I say something wrong? Did I do something? Did I not do something that I should have done? That never stops. That you're going to be dogged by that your entire career. And I hope that's helpful information for you to know, so you don't get totally discouraged. But it will happen less and less as you do this longer, and you will feel really bad because many times you're getting the benefit of that because you're getting the business after someone worked with another realtor for 5 years. So it'll start shifting your way. But let me start what I'm saying by saying it's a really tough business. It's tough to be good at. It's tough to stay on top of. It's tough to get up every season, every morning and say, okay, I'm going to do this again for the reward of quite good financial reward at the end if you stay at it. As I said, going back to the Wall Street Journal article, they broke down that and they said that essentially what it comes to in jobs, that even though you have the carrot of an income well into 6 figures, people will often choose safe and secure over possible. And so sales becomes the possible, whereas a job 9 to 5 is a paycheck every Friday. And while it may not be as much as the carrot, it's the safe thing. So I thought that was really interesting that in this, gaping hole of jobs available, the most lucrative jobs out there are the ones that are not being taken because of the risk involved. You two are on the ground level of that foundation of saying, am I willing to take that risk? Am I willing to do what it takes and have an open house where nobody shows up, or to make a phone call that someone doesn't return it, or make mistakes, and do it, but still recognize that at the end, that you do your job right, you serve your clients well, you're going to have that income. So yeah, Joe, that happens. It's frustrating. Now, what I do when that happens, what I did after I found out this couple sold with somebody else, I asked Brandon in my office, give him a call, find out why, find out, did we do something wrong? Should we have done something that we didn't do? Because that's the way we learn. And sometimes they'll call you back, sometimes they don't, and sometimes we've gotten very honest feedback. We've gotten people feedback and say, well, we felt like Kathy was too busy. Well, we felt like our home was really not her focus because she has these high-end homes, or whatever the reason is. Well, I learned from them. I think, okay, I need to not act so busy.
Well,
I need to slow down, and I need to realize that, I need to self-correct and do that.
And I reached out to him because I was
What did
like,
he say?
I was like, did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Is there something that I should have done?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you didn't do anything wrong or whatever. But he was like, I have understood from our conversations how volatile and busy this market is and with my price point, he's like, I know it's not the greatest, but this is what I got. And he was like, you know, I just wanted to go with someone else just because we've been friends for so long. I didn't want our friendship to get ruined for being friends for over a decade. So
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like,
okay. Now, here's what I would have done with that. First of all, that's kind of a lame excuse.
Yeah.
Okay. And what he should have done is come to you and say, and I'll give you an example of that. But I also would take it as an opportunity to say, okay, to myself, let me think back of my actions with him. Did I say anything or do anything that made him feel like he's wasting my time, that home does not exist? Did I say anything or do anything to make him feel like that our friendship was in jeopardy because he was being too picky or so I would take it as an opportunity for self-evaluation, but I also kind of don't buy that. I'll give you an example. A couple very good friends of my husband and I, and she called me the other day and she said they want to buy a home and they are in a price range. It's very difficult to find a home. And they've been talking about wanting to buy a home. And honest, stand before God, I was hoping they wouldn't ask me because I knew it was going to be really hard and they didn't have any money. And I just didn't want to start this nightmare of trying to buy a home with them realizing that you've got to have 30,000 cash and all this stuff. That's honest to God truth. I told my husband, I said, I would work with them because I love them, but gosh, I hope I don't have to. But anyway, she called me the other day and she said, hey, Kathy, I want to talk to you. She goes, Craig and I are starting on our process of looking for a home. And he has a woman that is one of his mom's best friends that if we don't use her as a realtor, it will really cause a problem with his mom. And I'm just calling you up front to say that's the reason. And I'm oh my God. You know, but in reality, she handled it right. And I said, Maggie, I said, 100%. Go, and I'm here if you have any questions, if you have any doubts or want to ask questions, but you don't want your realtor to know you're asked questions, I'll be here. I said, but you and Greg go find a home. I'm here to help, but no problem whatsoever. And no hard
and I
feelings.
had just told him, I said, well, you know, I said, if that's truly the case, that's fine. But I said, you know, I would have appreciated
That's fine.
the heads up first before you went with
Yeah,
the realtor, just to not blindside me.
I had, in fact, I always say the reason I hope my classes are helpful is they're real life and yesterday, meaning they just happened. I just had a client who used me a year ago to help him find homes. And I got him in contract twice and he backed out. He just got cold feet, okay? So so he goes on, he finds, at least what he told me, is a for sale by owner in Washington Courthouse. He has a condo in Hilliard that he needs to sell. And when he backed out twice on houses, I, of course, was doing my follow-up with him, sending him houses. Sometime last December-ish, he sends me an email, hey, I found this for sale by owner in Washington Courthouse. You can turn off these automatic things. And I said, great, because again, to me, he's just going to back out of another one. So I didn't really care. I said, great, but I would love the opportunity to sell your condo. Yeah, but it's going to be a while because I need to fix this home in Washington Courthouse. No problem. Every month I've been contacting him about his condo. I even showed his condo a month ago because I had a client looking and I called him up. I said, hey, Mike, I know your condo is not ready to go on the market, but I have a couple that will give you top dollar if I can pre-sale it. Can I show it? He said, yeah, it's a mess, but bring them over. This is a month ago. So I looked it up yesterday to do my follow-up and it's listed in contract for someone. Okay, so now I'm pissed. All right, so yesterday I sent in this text and this is why I want to tell you that, you know, you're not a doormat. I mean, you know, there is a time to call somebody. And I said, just seeing what that date was. I showed the home to my clients on August the 10th. So it's barely been a month, okay? I said, Mike, I saw that you listed your condo with another agent. I'm very disappointed. I've been in communication with you for the last 6 months. I showed you homes, put you in contract and got you out of contract legally with your earnest money being returned twice. At very least, you could have given me the courtesy that you intended to list with another agent. And I certainly felt that the work I've done for you in the past, including showing you several condos, has earned the right to at least a discussion. In spite of that, I wish you well. Okay, so that made me feel better. I probably never hear from him again. But that, when that kind of line is crossed, I feel like they need to be told, okay? Instead of, oh, I'm so happy, well, I'm thrilled for you, good luck to you. No, bullshit. No, you allowed me to waste my time and do a whole lot of work for you, only to turn around. And I now think he probably knew he was never listing the condo with me. Like that, the whole 6 months he said that. So again, whether I hear from him or not, I don't care. But as a professional, he shouldn't have done that. That's wrong. So go back to what I said. It's hard. It's really a hard business. I've just given you 3 examples in less than 6 weeks where business I thought I had was gone. Okay, so if you can use that as an encouragement to say that's going to happen. It doesn't mean you're a bad realtor. It doesn't mean you're incompetent. It means you're dealing with human beings, and as long as you do your job, you are going to have an opportunity to work with a lot of good people. Let me read you another text I got while I'm teaching this class. I just got this text from a client whose home sold last week. We took them to dinner last night because they're getting ready to move out of town. She said, it's so nice getting to meet Mike and see what a great couple you are. We're so happy for you. We thank you for the dinner. We feel so fortunate to call you a friend. Your work ethic, your outstanding knowledge of the market, your articulation of each and every step, making selling or buying a home easy. We had such an amazing journey. Thank you so much. And we look forward to staying in touch with you. Okay, that's going to be the majority of the time. Okay, but you're going to have jerks. Okay, you're going to have that happen. You're going to have unfortunate things. Part of sales is you've got to recognize that those are the dark kernels on the corn, and most of it is going to be good. You just got to move through the dark kernels and recognize that that's going to happen. Coming back again to open houses, our goal when they leave the open house is that if you haven't given them a reason to remember you, they won't. If all you've done is stand in the house and let them walk through and let them come back out, you're going to be one of 5 realtors they saw that day, and they won't. What sets you apart is what they leave with, so that they know that you took the extra step. So what are those things that make you memorable? What are the things that make that person say, yeah, that realtor went the extra mile for me? Look at it from the buyer's point of view. They don't care if you make a living. They don't care if you make a commission on that home. What they want is, did you serve their needs? Did you provide information? So there's just some ideas for open houses that either I have in my head to do, or I have done, or I have seen done. One of the things we often do is when we have a home buyer seminar come up, every open house before that seminar, we'll give them an invitation to our home buyer seminar. So that we're saying, yeah, I know this was in a hurry, you're in the open house, but here's an invitation. Coming up in 3 weeks, we have a home buyer seminar. We'd love to see you there. Okay, Vistaprint, your best friend. In any print thing, you will be very surprised how inexpensive it is to print small cards. They can be the size of a postcard with your picture and your information on it. Give them something of value. It can be top 10 things to think about when you're buying a home. It can be mortgage rates. You will borrow this much at 3.5%. Here's your mortgage payment. Things from your lender. Just say, hey, could you give me a chart and permission to use a quick chart on mortgage rates? 10 things to look for in a home inspection. 10 things to whatever. Google something and come up and put it on a card, and it can be a calendar. It can be, I don't know if I brought it. Yeah, we buy 5,000 of these a year, just a magnet calendar. We hand these out at open houses. We hand them out everywhere. So what you do, you go on there and get creative and think of what can I put my face and logo and information on and hand them, and it helps them remember me. I saw this done, which I thought was very clever. A realtor in, this market, they did a Facebook Live and interviewed the people coming through the open house. And they said, hey, I'm here at such and such street. these people just walked in. John and Mary, tell us what you think of this market. It's just absolutely nuts. It's crazy, So again, it added some interest to it. I guarantee you that couple are going to remember that realtor who, came through their open house and added some just excitement about the open house. Get free stuff from your favorite vendors and put together a thank you bag to give to your guests. Again, this is very inexpensive to do. Should have brought it, I forgot, but I recently ordered, we're doing a Halloween event. So I ordered a bunch of plastic bags with the Kathy Chiero group on one side and Downsized Columbus on the other. I think I ordered 500 bags and got them for 40 cents a piece or something. Again, Vista friend, your best friend. So again, invest some money there, spend a little money. You're going to use it for years. In other words, those bags we'll use for years. They're not dated. And you don't have to have those. You can go get it. It's starting out, get inexpensive gift bags. But if you go to your lender, you go to your title company, say, what's the free stuff you get out? You'll get pens, you'll get notepads, letter openers, you'll get all Post-it notes. I mean, and just put stuff in there. Go to the dollar store, add some candy or stuff yourself. Put your business card in there. Thank them for coming. I often would have these little Tootsie Roll Pops to give to the kids if they came in, ask their parents permission. Hey, here's this. But again, give them something that is something they did not get from another open house. Coupons and gift cards from a business nearby, clip it to your business card. Chick-fil-A, right over here. Probably a half dozen times. Now they need some leeway. They need about 10 days or so or leeway. But I went to them and I said, hey, I'm doing an open house over here in Gahanna. I'd love to send people back over here after they've gone through the open house. Can you give me anything? They'll say, well, how many do you need? Give me 40. They'll give me 40 cards for a free Chick-fil-A sandwich. And then you hand them out at your open house and say, hey, there's Chick-fil-A up the street. Go have lunch, with kids. Again, with your business card. Another thing I do is in that conversation with them, I ask them, look, is there any other homes in the area that you want to see that aren't open? And they'll pull out their phones and they'll say, well, yeah, I don't know if this is still available, but we wanted to see this one. Well, I'll tell you what, if you can wait till I'm off today for the open house, maybe I can get you in to see them. Service added. And then this is something we're going to try next spring. We talked about it at our meeting yesterday morning. We're gonna think of doing seminars at the open house. You know how you go through Costco and someone's selling a gadget and they're just talking into the air and people stop and listen? Well, we're going to have a home inspector down in the basement and a lender in the dining room and say, look, thanks for coming to our open house. Just for you today, we have a home inspector down there who's going to talk to you a little bit about what to look for in a basement. Over here is a lender who's going to talk about, what loans are out there. And I haven't done it yet, but I bet you when we get those crowds of 30 and 40 people, they're going to start coming in and just sitting and listening to the home inspector, who will hand out his cards and get business off of it, as well as the lender. What have we done? I guarantee you there's not another open house in the city that provided that. Okay, so they're going to get 5-minute education here, 5-minute education there. Come by and visit me, get a copy of my book. Hey, and I'd love to talk to you. Let's sit down and meet. And let me go over, buying a home with you. Again, what have I done? I have taken that open house and turned it into a value-added event that if they don't have a realtor, they know that's the best they're going to get. And if they do have a realtor that they're not very committed to or is not a very good realtor, they're going to say, boy, we're missing out. There's something that we're not getting here. So again, that's an idea. The bottom line is you want to be the answer to whatever their question is. You're going to be prepared. And if you don't know, and say, you know what, give me your name and number. I'll find that out for you. Let me find that out for you. I'll be back with you this afternoon to answer that question. But you have to look at it from the way your clients do and say, what are they going to leave that open house that makes them remember me? The next thing is a follow-up. This is another thing surprisingly realtors don't do. If you do a successful open house, you're going to end up with a page of names and email addresses and phone numbers. Now, let's start with the reality. 30% of them are not going to be the right number, or you're not going to be able to read it. But you're going to have some that say, yeah, here, I do want you to contact me. I do want you to follow up. Within 24 hours of the open house, every guest should be contacted with a thank you. Hi, this is Bo. I met you in the open house on Ashford Glen yesterday. Wanted to thank you for coming, and I just wanted to check back in, see if there's anything more I could do for you. Do you have any other needs? They say, no, we appreciate it, or text, no, thank you for being there. Bo text back, okay, just a reminder to you, if it would be helpful to you, I'd love to link you directly to the MLS. Let me know if that's something that would be of interest to you. What you're looking for is a no. One of my phrases, go until you hear no. You want to go and don't just shoot something out. Well, I didn't hear from them, so I didn't, that means no. No, it doesn't mean no. It means you didn't hear from them. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you stalk them. Doesn't mean you creep on them. Remember, you just keep in mind that you're still looking to meet their needs. So a week later, hey, I hadn't heard from you, but I wanted to let you know, I've got such and such seminar coming up. If you would like to come, I'd love to register you. And then I, again, often will say to them after a few no contacts, look, if you've already got a realtor, or I really don't want to be a realtor who bugs you, just want to be helpful to you, please let me know if this is not helpful and you want me to stop. But if they want you to, they will. But just as often, they'll say, nope, sorry, we've been busy. We're really appreciative that you're sending us to houses, and we're going to be in touch. My inside sales guy is named Brandon, who all he does all day long is make phone calls, send emails, and text to people. I asked him how often those people call back. How often do they respond by text or email? And remember, this is even dealing with old people. Probably 2/3 of our database is over 65 because of downsize flow. And who tend to be much more polite, and send messages back to them. And he told me virtually never does he hear from them. They don't respond. They don't. So if we were just to stop contact because we're not hearing from them, we have wasted all of the effort doing it. But here's why we're not hearing from them. They don't have a need yet. Okay, they don't have a need. But once they have a need, then they're going to be the ones that call. Why? Because you were the last person that called them. They're going to scroll through their emails, find that email from you, scroll through their text to find that text from you. What was that guy's name? Remember the great one that worked at the open house and showed us all, oh yeah, we've got an email from him. And so that's why we call it a pipeline. You've got to start filling up that pipeline. So at the end of the day, you are top of mind when that person is ready, unless they say no. If they don't want to hear from you, they say no, you say thank you very much, and you move on. So again, what we're looking for, it's the open house, rinse and repeat, do it again the next week. What you're looking for is volume. You do enough of these, you're going to pick up buyer here. You're going to have an open house where you get nothing. You're going to have another open house, you get 2. You're going to have another open house. The neighbor came by and wants you to list their home, and you picked up a buyer. So again, it is very, very, it's a huge challenge to keep yourself mentally up to keep doing it. But I'm telling you, if you do them right, they're going to be, you're going to jumpstart your business. Open houses are especially valuable to new realtors because they don't really cost anything. They're not high dollar. You're putting in your time. Let me get back to these because I know it's easy to say, well, gosh, you have these really pretty books and you can do this. I didn't always have pretty books. A lot of the times it was just Googling some good information, putting it on a sheet, throwing my name on it and handing it to them. And that's all it has to be. It really does. As long as you have the knowledge in your head and you're able to be conversant, to educate them, and then say, by the way, one thing that text just alluded to when she said every step along the way you explained it. I have in my email library template emails to explain virtually everything, to explain the appraisal, to explain a home inspection process, to explain what earnest money is, to explain. So when I'm sitting at the desk and I get notice that one of my listings just had the appraisal scheduled, go out, send that email to the homeowner, explain everything to them. So same thing on the buyer's end. If they look at you and know that you are a source of information that they can't get anywhere else, or they're not getting anywhere else, they don't care if it's really pretty. All they care is that they're getting the information. from somebody or some source. So again, don't be intimidated and feel like you need to spend a lot of money. I would, if I were you, I would invest in some really simple marketing material for yourself. Like I said, you go into VistaPrint there, and come up with, 10 ways to do this, 7 tips for that, and ask them to put it on a card. You put your nice headshot on it with your information as they're walking out the door. That, I guarantee you, that cost you less than $100 to do that. To have enough to last for a 6 months worth of open houses, that you do that. And it makes you stand apart above the business card crowd, that you have provided that to them. You attach that to a gift bag, all the better, that you have done that. So again, it is all about giving value to the buyer, allowing yourself to stand out when you do the open house, and persistence. Just keep at it. Keep at the open houses. We are in a season, and we'll go into the spring with the same season of having open houses being overrun with people. So big keys, pick the right house. You want lower end, do it with a buddy, get another colleague to get more information, establish the compensation with your colleague, and then have your tools and resources ready to give to the people who come in the open house. Any questions? All right, I'm going to read something to you. This is my contribution to your business today, beyond open houses. I have a son, Bo knows him, Christian, who is just always struggling with who he wants to be and what he thinks he wants to be. And I wrote this for him, and I want to read it to you because it's very apropos to starting your business. When I wrote to him, I said, starting is scary. Starting means you put yourself and your money and your reputation out there and at risk. Starting means you're facing head on the possibility that you may fail, and fail in front of family and friends who have maybe been pushing you to do something safer, or maybe those who've provided funding for your entrepreneurial venture. So instead of doing these frightening things, it's easier and feels more sensible to do business the way everyone does business. It's good enough. What they does works, it works enough. Why leave a firm foundation to step on the risky slope of a new idea? It's easier to keep thinking and researching your new idea. Or if you wait for the next guy to try the idea, you can watch from the safety of the dugout to see whether he strikes out or hits a home run. Let someone else spend the money, take the time, work the extra hour, risk the failure. If this is the course you take, you'll never start anything and you'll never prove anything. The idea tried by the other guy will either succeed or not, but it's no proof that had you put your hand to the plow of your design, that you would not have succeeded spectacularly. Researching has its value, but it's also the coward's shield. There will always be one more piece of information you need, one more call you have to make, one more thing you have to do. And in doing so, you'll always be one step behind the competition. Yes, you may fail, but you also might succeed beyond your dreams. The only thing certain, you'll not succeed unless you try. And that means you have to take action. You have to spend money. If you don't have any money, you need to change your priorities to put your money behind your dream. Is it a big dream? Save your money until you can finance the big, but take small steps in the meantime. You have to take risks. You have to dare to do the things that your colleagues are afraid to try. You have to be willing to fail. You have to believe in your future enough to let your past be defined by a trail of failures. You have to be okay with a party to which nobody comes. One day, when you stand in front of others to mentor and teach, they will see only your success. You'll be so big in their eyes that you block the view of the failure it took to get there. However, remember this. It's also the sign of greatness that you're willing to remember the day you started, share with humility the failures that pushed you to the top of your mountain, but you got to get started. That's what I say to you. In this business, you are an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur, you just got to get started, and you cannot let the fear of that failure or that line I've often used is whenever I try to do events, I still to this day, I am so afraid that I'll throw a big party that nobody comes to. Okay. And that fear is what keeps most realtors at the bottom of the mountain looking at the ones who are succeeding, because there is so much fear that what I do is going to be a failure, and I'd much rather stay at safety and see if they fall or make it. But the agents who are the realtors who are the true entrepreneurs who are going to reach their goals of a retirement that gives them passive income for the rest of their life and gives them plenty of finances to do whatever they want to do, or whatever your why is. That comes because you chose to take that risk. And in doing open houses and doing them creatively and coming up with new ideas and saying, oh, well, that one didn't work. Oh, well, that was a good try, but it didn't work. That puts you in the field of the 1%ers, of the people willing to do that, to be able to say, okay, I can now build my success on the things that we've tried. I do 3 different seminars right now that are very successful, and they cost a lot of money to do, but I make money on every one of them. And I had one of my assistants say, hey, I want to do one of those seminars. What does it cost to do it? I think it was Hobson Homes, my buyer seminar. And a Hobson Homes seminar cost about $15,000 to do. I split that with a lender, so I do 7,500, but I sell 3 houses on it and make the money back. Well, they were saying, oh, that's not a lot of money to do, but comparatively to do a seminar. And I said, yeah, but it cost me $30,000 to come up with the formula. See, I mean, I wasted $30,000 on things that didn't work to get to the thing that works. But now that it works, now I'll make money off the things that works. That's what entrepreneurs do. They'll say to themselves, well, I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, I'll put it in my backpack of things that didn't work, but it leads me on the trail of the things that work. So when you're looking creatively at open houses, you got to think outside the box and say, what is no one else doing? But what can I do that when that buyer leaves, I not only rewarded them with information that helps them, but I've made myself memorable to them. And that's what's going to turn clients for you. All right. All right, go do it then. When's your test? You said next week, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll get a phone call Wednesday.
Yep, hopefully.
Or I'll give you a text Wednesday and say.
Well,
back
give
out.
another shot.
Yeah.
Give me another 6 weeks.
I'll see you later
Yes,
this
absolutely. Go ahead. Good luck to you, Bo. Let me
Thank
know
you.
how it goes.
weekend. I will. I'll see you later this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, what you needed to fill out, did you need this?
Yeah.
And I think there was another one here. Fill out, you know, that's the yellow one. Hold on. This. Copy that one. You want that? Yeah. Yeah. All righty, thank you, for stopping in. And hey, good luck to you. How long you get your license?
The end of July.
Good for you. Yeah.
But I really appreciate the the table out front and everything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's so easy to do. And you get a colleague, someone else that's new, and you say, look, you sit up front, I'll go inside and then switch, you know, and you are gonna need that. When you start doing listings that are solid, desirable listings, especially in the spring, when they're new listings, you're gonna have those crowds. To be able to do that.
I mean, obviously, having someone at every open house with you isn't doable every time,
Right.
but having another colleague with you, when it was like that, when we had nobody, it was nice to be to talk to.
Right.
But then, yeah, it's more manageable and just able to.
And
I
read this. If you read this, you'll know more than most realtors in terms of advising buyers.
I like the idea of like having those flyers or having things to give to people to like, yeah, just do your research and have
Yes.
information to give people and
Yeah.
don't stumble over your words when you're doing it.
Right.
Act smart.
Absolutely. You get confidence in what you're saying, and you'll get more and more confidence as you live it, as you're doing it, not just reading it, so that you know, and then you'll be able to say, well, I was working with a client last week and this what happened. And so it builds on your knowledge base, but absolutely you want to have them leave with something of you, that causes them to remember you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day. Okay, comma, and Breeze still has his diapers there, question mark.